Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily News. I'm Nicholas Richardson. Polish President Andrzej Duda, during his address to the Sejm, devoted much attention to security issues, both in the context of expanding the potential of the Polish military and on the security of Poland's borders. The President summarised what the government of Donald Tusk had accomplished, what had been abandoned by the current government, and stressed that security must be taken out of the parentheses of the current political dispute. Right at the beginning of his Sejm address delivered on the anniversary of the parliamentary elections, Polish President Andrzej Duda assessed that in the context of Russian aggression against Ukraine, Poland's security is the most important issue that should unite, not divide. The issue of security has become the absolute primary issue for all nations and states now part of Europe and the world. It is a matter of absolutely fundamental importance today. In the context of the threat from Putin's Russia, the President stressed the importance of investing in the armed forces of Poland, an important member of NATO. As President, I have supported, do support, and will continue to support all measures that strengthen our defence potential and our military security. Andrzej Duda also listed measures to strengthen Poland's military launched by defence ministers from the United Right government, Antoni Macierewicz and Mariusz Błaszczak. The President cited how the Polish military began to be rebuilt after 2015 through the creation of territorial defence forces and later through the acquisition of new military equipment from abroad. The President also thanked the current head of the Defence Ministry, Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz, for continuing the agreements made by the United Right. I consider it necessary to continue all modernisation programmes already started in the Polish army, both those related to the implementation of contracts concluded with companies from South Korea and the United States, and, of course, those concluded with our domestic companies. Andrzej Duda mentioned the contract negotiated by Mariusz Błaszczak for the supply of Apache attack helicopters, signed by the current authorities of the Ministry of Defence, and the contract for the supply of Kleszcz reconnaissance armoured personnel carriers. We are continuing contracts. The President also said this, and we are concluding new ones. The transformation of the Polish army cannot take place in 1 or 2 years. Everything good that is happening in the Defence Ministry is what continues after our governments. There is no new quality. On the contrary, the old generals associated with the civic platform in the Ministry of Defence have returned in many areas. When it comes to procurement policy, it is an 80% continuation of the United Right line. The problem is that the arms contracts inherited by the current government, which were supposed to strengthen the defence potential of the Polish army, are dragging on. We are implementing, none of those contracts have been overturned, we are also implementing more contracts. We just hope that the budget can last. The agreements for the acquisition and production in Poland of some 800 more Korean K2 tanks, or a total of 500 US HIMARS missile launchers, which are essential for Polish defence, are still not finalised. The President said this to mobilise those currently in power to act to strengthen our security. The President also spoke on the defence of the Polish border, which is today the site of a Putin and Lukashenko-inspired hybrid war. Thanks to the decisive actions of Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki's government and the attitude of our border guards, soldiers, police officers and officers of other services, we have clearly shown that Poland is capable of taking care of the security of its borders, the European Union and the Schengen area. Andrzej Duda also recalled the change that took place in the coalition on the 13th of December. I am glad that the government of Prime Minister Donald Tusk and his political camp currently in power in Poland have finally joined the defenders of Poland's border. But after all, when the vote was taken here in the Sejm on the construction of the fence on the border, only members of the Polish People's Party, from among the then opposition deputies, voted in favour of its construction. Because Tusk's coalition, while still in opposition, sided with illegal immigrants. Only after taking power did they change their approach. President Andrzej Duda gave a great speech. It made Donald Tusk furious. It can be said that Tusk is furious again. That's because the truth hurts. What the President said is the essence of what has happened over the past year, and it is the essence of the coalition's bad governance. In the kind of situation in which Poland is, including the security situation, this address did not unite, did not call for agreement across divides. It was unfortunately a partisan speech. It would seem that the head of the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Administration, who was in the room during Andrzej Duda's address, should have heard these words of the President. Security must be taken out of the bracket of the current political dispute, a party dispute or an inter-party dispute. On the anniversary of the parliamentary elections, immediately after the President's address calling for agreement on the most important issues of the country, Donald Tusk entered the parliamentary rostrum and all the charm was gone. North Korean state media reported that some 1.5 million young people, including students and youth activists, enlisted in the army this week. More border crossings have been blown up, the army put on alert, and Seoul is afraid of escalation.
The surprising news of widespread enlistment, North Korean agencies document with such propaganda photos. The regime has been escalating tensions on the peninsula for days and threatening to strike its southern neighbor. The trigger in defense of sovereignty and security will be pulled without hesitation. This is a key statement from the Foreign Ministry of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Pyongyang accuses Seoul of trying to infiltrate the north with military surveillance drones. The south denies the revelations and points to the likely use of balloons and kites with leaflets by activist groups trying to encourage North Koreans to flee to the south. According to analysts, the situation is starting to get out of hand. Sky propaganda has been sent out by activists for decades, but today it could lead to disaster. If North Korea's military tries to shoot down balloons or drones, their missiles could fall on South Korean territory. In that case, South Korea will have to respond. This could inadvertently lead to a full-scale war, as both sides promise to respond with an overwhelming show of force. Kim Jong-un, North Korea's dictator, has ordered the blowing up of border river crossings and railroad lines connecting the two countries. At the same time, he has become very closely aligned with Putin in recent months, offering military assistance in the war in Ukraine. Our intelligence records not only the transfer of weapons from North Korea to Russia, but also the transfer of people. These include Russian factory workers, replacing Russians killed in the war, and Russian army personnel. Basically, this means the participation of the other country in the war against Ukraine on Russia's side. According to Ukrainian media, the Koreans are already at the back of the front line. A training base is supposed to be located near Russian-occupied Mariupol.
There are reports of further activities, including personnel. I think we're still evaluating those reports. We are concerned by them, and as I said, I think we agreed that we'll continue to monitor the situation closely.
According to reports on Russian social media channels, a search is even underway for a group of North Koreans who deserted almost immediately after arriving in Ukraine.
A New York court has received 6 new lawsuits against the well-known rapper Diddy. They concerned sexual abuse. The musician does not admit guilt. These are not the first charges for Diddy, who has been in custody since September. The charges are so serious that the judge doesn't want to even hear about the $50 million bail the rapper's lawyers are proposing.
The latest lawsuit has been filed by a Houston lawyer who represents people who were sexually harassed at events hosted by the rapper. Among the alleged victims are minors.
As many of you know, our law firm has been at the forefront of some of the most important litigation in the United States. We like the tough cases. We thrive in the complicated cases. We've handled over the last 25 years some very big and very important cases. I believe that this one may surpass them all. The biggest secret in the entertainment industry that really wasn't a secret at all has finally been revealed to the world. The wall of silence has now been broken, and victims are coming forward. Our team has had at this point more than 3,285 individuals contact us with people claiming to have been victimized by Sean Combs. After vetting, we now represent 120 individuals who intend to bring civil claims in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs, as well as claims against many other individuals and entities that we will name as defendants as we file these individual cases.
The lawsuits were filed a month after Sean Combs, aka Diddy, was accused of leading an organized crime group that engaged in sex trafficking and racketeering for years. The rapper was arrested in September. On the 10th of October, the judge denied his request for bail and set a date for his first hearing for the 5th of May 2025.
That's the news. Thank you for watching, and from me, have a good night and a better tomorrow.